Let me start by introducing my panel this morning. Seated next to me is Philip Chebunet, a political analyst. Many thanks, Chebunet, for joining us. Hossein Kasim, a youth leader. Karibu sana. And Mr. Connellius Saina, ANC branch leader, Uasin Gishu. Thank you very much, gentlemen, and Karibu to NTV. We start with you, Mr. Philip Chebunet. There was this clip where Deputy President claimed there were elements trying to push him out of Jubilee, the very same elements that did push him out of ODM. What do you make of that? Is the Deputy President expressing concern that it is not a field day as usual for him within the Jubilee party, or is he trying to send a warning even within Jubilee structures to say, hey, I'm not comfortable?
Ruto is aware that Kenya is a very competitive political environment. So more often you need to register your presence to show that you are around, yes, and to show that your ambition is still alive. And also, you know, Ruto is a religious person, and he knows that the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And he knows Raila Odinga has an experience wherever he has gone has not been the same again. Look at the handshake. When he came in, you find that things have changed in Kenya. So I think William Ruto wants to secure the party. You know, when you have Jubilee as a party.
Not his political ambition?
Not really. Because this is the vehicle that if you want to be president, you're going to use it. And the greatest asset that Ruto has now is the party.
Yes.
Because the other parties don't have a national outlook. And so you find that if they secure Jubilee, it's going to be easy for him. Mr.
Saina, do you agree with Mr. Chebunet, or is Deputy President playing to the masses and just trying to whip emotions around his supporters, of course using the handshake as an excuse?
I want to believe that the Deputy President is playing to the gallery, because as you look at it, actually, it is not so much about Jubilee. He's talking about his ambitions, and he was like assured of the president's support and the party's support going to 2022. But as things run now, it is like actually the president and the party are far away from what he's thinking about. In as much as Ruto is fighting to become president in 2022, the president is fighting to leave a legacy for Kenyans. So I want to believe, in as much as he is thinking about being chased from Jubilee, by who now? Because actually the truth of the matter is Raila Odinga is a member of ODM and the party leader to ODM. So how does he come into Jubilee issues? I want to think there is panic. The Deputy President is in so much panic. And going forward, I'm sure Jubilee, being a party that was made up of basically two tribes, with the one
and not a national outlook, as Chebunet would want to
argue. No,
it
is not. That's not the fact. It is basically two tribes. And even the formation of government, when you look at it critically, you will find that it was actually about two tribes. It's now the handshake that has brought in the third tribe. The 41 tribes are outside this government when you look at it critically. So when you look at it from that angle, it shows that when one tribe balls out of Jubilee, which is like a foregone issue, Jubilee will not be there in 2022. And if it will be there, it will be very weak.
Kasim, your thoughts?
I don't think Raila Odinga has the capacity of sending Ruto out of Jubilee, considering that Ruto is the deputy party leader. So if you're a party leader, how do you expect someone who's not even your party member to come and chase you out of the party? So I think about the issue of Ruto saying that he's going to be chased out of Jubilee, it is frustrating. But this is politics, you never know. Yes.
And Mr. Chebunet, there are those who are of the opinion that since the handshake, then the person who's been most uncomfortable in this whole handshake thing and coming together thing is Deputy President William Ruto. But we did see him after the handshake also taking to the podium and even hugging Raila Odinga in public. Why is he, why are there all these conversations about him being uncomfortable, yet he is within the Jubilee party, and we understand it is the Jubilee party that extended or had negotiations with Raila Odinga to come together to the table and ensure that all Kenyans move in one direction in terms of calming the political tensions in the country?
I think Ruto is not uncomfortable. He's only careful because of the competition that is there. So with the handshake, I think the handshake has no effect. Remember, Raila has also led in the formation of this Council of Elders. And so I'm not seeing it having any effect because already the president has prepared the people to think of development. And so I'm not seeing the handshake really having any effect.
Serving any purpose.
Yeah, because in fact, since then, people have been greeting one another. And I think that one has no problem. The building bridges initiative.
Yes.
I think elders have been meeting always. But if this initiative is not involving all people, especially if William Ruto is not involved in this handshake.
Do you feel like he's not being involved?
I think he's not involved.
He's being sidelined.
Because really, if you see a frog, according to Chinua Achebe, he said that if you see a frog coming out of water, its life is in danger.
Yes.
So if you see the Deputy President leaving the development-minded talks and coming out and talking about politics, it means that there is a problem somewhere, and he wants to assert his place.
Let me bring in Connellius. Do you think that this is a tool in which Raila Odinga is using to contain William Ruto, even to sideline him, as argues Mr. Chebunet here, the handshake, quote unquote?
Initially, I want to say that the handshake had some good effect on Kenyans' life because, number one, we achieved the elusive peace that had been missing for some time.
Yes.
And actually that one stabilized the economy, and we moved on as Kenyans. But then, as Chebunet says, we want to see this handshake being all-inclusive. In as much as we want to support the handshake, we want it to be all-inclusive. We want all political players included in the handshake, including religious players and others, because it cannot be about two people. The handshake cannot be about two people, whatever position they hold in the society. We have over 42 million Kenyans. We all have our own opinions. We cannot say that they are right just because they had that handshake. So in as much as we support the handshake, we want it to be really inclusive.
Let us move a bit to the referendum. There has been murmurs about it, and seemingly it is on the way. It is coming. Waswahili husema lisemwalo lipo, kama lipo lipo njiani laja. We have seen a number of leaders from the Rift Valley expressing their position that they are not interested in it. To decode it, many of them say it is a way of Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga trying to seek political relevance beyond 2022. Your concerns on the same, Chebunet?
I think, first of all, if they cannot pay the maize farmers, where will they get the money for the referendum? Because really, the referendum is very costly. Number two, there is no IBC. IBC.
On the issue of cost, Mr. Chebunet, there's a time the Senate Ad Hoc Committee on Agriculture was here, and we did have farmers just expressing their concerns to them. And just to quote one farmer told Senator Kipchumba Murkomen, since you're very close to the DP and we see him every other weekend being very generous in the spirit of investing in heaven, giving 5 million, 2 million in every other church harambe. Why won't you take all that money that you have, first of all, and even give charity towards NCPB? If NCPB is broke, then pay our farmers. Why won't we see that kind of vigorous generosity when it comes to the DP in matters of farmers? But every time he's headed to the coastal region or to central Kenya, seemingly there's a lot of money to splash around.
I think Ruto, Kenya does not belong to William Ruto alone. All Kenyans depend on one budget, and the budget has been prepared, and this is the money that farmers are supposed to get. So the minister even said that on Monday they are going to be paid.
Yes.
And this blame game is, I think there are some people who want to portray the deputy president as a bad person since he comes from Eldoret and Rift Valley, and these people are not being paid. So I think there's a scheme by some cartels.
Political games, you mean?
So I think, first of all, there should be money to fight the cartels. I think the money should be set aside to fight these cartels first before we talk about the referendum.
By all means, let's go to the referendum now, yes.
Very costly. And let us, even the Bible says, give us this day our daily bread. It's not talking about 2019. And in fact, there is even the census, and which is very costly. So Kenyans should know that after 2019 and 2020, there is no other work to be done. 2021 is politics.
Yes.
And 22. So the time that people should work is 2019 and 2020. And that is where we are talking about referendum, I don't know, census, and so many other problems. And the economic, the standard of living now is very high.
Yes.
So Kenyans want to deal with what to eat first before dealing with these other things.
Mr. Connellius, your party leader, in today's daily piece in the Daily Nation, says that Kenyans are tired and that the referendum seemingly should not be the way to go.
I want to really echo the same sentiments, because actually as a country, we have many things that are more of priority than the referendum. And then when you look at the referendum, even the mover of the referendum, Mr. Raila Odinga, looks like he's shifting a goalpost towards 2022. And I want to say that is not the right thing to do. We in ANC want to see some things changed in the constitution. But we want to categorically state that this is not the right time to change our constitution. Because we have some issues that we need to sort out as a country. We are nearly going to the CRB over our debts, with foreign debts. Now that's what we should be fixing. We should not be talking about the referendum at this time. And then when we look at the referendum, they are not looking at the core issues. Like, for example, sometimes we want to think about our cabinet, cabinet coming from among the MPs, so that they can countercheck themselves. But then you see, that's not what they are talking about. They are talking about having a prime minister, having it, I don't know how many deputy presidents, how many deputy prime ministers. You know, that is actually out of this world, because that is not the direction we should be going. Even when President retired, Kibaki, ruled this country from 2003 to 2012, 13, he ruled using the old constitution, and we were good enough. So actually, this referendum thing is an excuse that that our laziness takes us towards that direction of referendum. But then again, when you look at our laws as they stand, they are good enough. We only get wrong leaders to implement our laws, because when you look at the elections that we
Let me bring in Mr. Kasim. Hold on that thought. Mr. Kasim, of course, the youth play a critical role when it comes to the political issues in this country. So what are the youth saying within their small conversations? Are they excited about conversations around the referendum, or do they think this is yet another political game?
It's very, very unfortunate the politician of this country only uses the youth during the elections, during demonstrations, when they want some mobilization. in between after one election to another one, you will never hear any of our national leaders talking about the youth agendas. Youth are only there to fill their stadiums. Youth are only there to carry stones. Youth are only there to carry their placards. But when it comes to agenda, none so far of our national leaders has ever come with a scheme that will help the youth. That is unfortunate for the Kenyan youth.
Okay. Yeah. Not even Jubilee Party?
Jubilee Party tried with their 30% of employment should go to youth and tender, but bring back home closer. As a youth leader in Wasingation, there is a difference between accessibility of information and availability of information. Okay,
hold that thought. We now join the conversation with Ken Mijungu in Nairobi. When we come back, gentlemen, I want us to talk on matters referendum further deep. Will it be the breaking point of Jubilee, or will Jubilee hold waters even beyond the conversation of the referendum, if indeed it sees the light of day? Ken? Many thanks, Ken. I want us to start looking at the reactions and feedback from Wananchi. On my Twitter handle, I have Jim Lagat. He says, the handshake will get to nowhere if Raila wants to use it for political cause. We have Omar Omondi who says, and how have the youths been incorporated in all this conversation of the referendum? I will be getting to more feedback, but in the meantime, my colleague Gabriel Kudaka is in the streets of Eldoret. I want us to listen to him and to get to understand what our Wananchi, or the residents of Uasin Gishu, saying regarding matters referendum, a handshake, and of course the political future of Deputy President William Ruto. Gabriel?
We are having a similar conversation here on the streets of Eldoret regarding the handshake. I spoke to different people and these are some of the views.
Ningependa kuzungumzia hii maneno ya handshake, kwamba handshake imekuwa mzuri tangu mzee akutana na rais. Tunashukuru kwa sababu kila mtu amekuwa na amani, nchi inaendelea vizuri. Lakini kitu yenye kinatusumbua ni kwamba maisha imekuwa juu na hata pesa imekuwa ngumu kupata. Tunaomba kwamba mzee, kwa sababu wako ndio mtetezi wa wananchi, aongelee maneno ndio at least tuwe na mambo mzuri nchi yetu ya Kenya.
Mimi naona handshake iko kamili, imeunganisha Kenya mzima, nchi iko timamu sahi. Vita iliisha, kisiasa iliisha. Sasa tunaendelea na maendeleo ile Raila na Uhuru wanachenga taifa yetu.
Kwa kila nchi there must be an opposition na ile utawala iko. So kukiwa na handshake, walikuja wakakuwa pamoja. So hakuna ile part ya ina challenge government. So government ikifanya hivi kitu mbaya, hakuna ile part ina wa challenge. So nimeona handshake imeleta economic crisis in Kenya.
Mimi kuongelea upande ya handshake, naona ni jambo ambalo lilikuwa ni mzuri hasa kwa nchi yetu. Sisi kama watu wanaofanya kazi ile chini. Hii miaka yote tulikuwa naona kiongozi wa upinzani ambaye alikuwa Raila Odinga alikuwa na act kama macho ya serikali, kuangaza mambo ya serikali, shughuli za serikali zote, lakini kwa sababu waliungana na Uhuru Kenyatta katika ile handshake, kisiasa mimi sielewi na ubaya gani, lakini kwa uchumi wa nchi ni kama itainua nchi, kwa sababu imeleta amani, imetuliza nchi, watu wanafanya shughuli zao kwa uhuru. Kwa hakika imeleta uhuru kwa wananchi kufanya shughuli zao. Hiyo itasaidia kuinua nchi, hata kama kuna changamoto moja mbili, lakini kwa ujumla itainua uchumi wa nchi na inatufanya nafasi pia sisi kama wananchi kufanya shughuli zetu tukiwa na huru, kutembea nchi mzima kwa uwazi. Sababu naunga mkono handshake.
Many thanks, my colleague there, Gabriel Kudaka, just gathering views and clearly a divide in the sentiments there shared. And let's now get more feedback from social media. Protich Sigei has feedback for you, Mr. Chebunet. He says, tell Mr. Chebunet the government has paid farmers, but that money has landed in the pocket of cartels. He should know cartels by now. You will let us know if you know the cartels by now. Gitch Boy at Tom Gitz says, please spare us the nonsense of 10,000 bob MPs. MPs. It's Kenya. In Kenya, we want to wipe out the rotten and greedy MPs. I think he's talking about our MPs. And Paul M. Ngigi at Generi says, partisan view, we need the referendum. That is just our feedback, and we did listen to feedback also from Kudaka in town. There seems to be a divide even here in the Rift Valley, Mr. Chebunet. Could that be translated into the mood here in the Rift Valley? What is the mood when it comes to matters Jubilee affair in 2022?
I think people know that politics has not really started, and people have been prepared for development. So I think the mood on the ground is one of survival. People are trying to survive. To get what to eat, the price of paraffin. That is the real mood on the ground, is survival for the common man. Thinking about the referendum, in fact, very few, the ones thinking about the referendum is Raila and Junet and maybe Mudavadi. Those are the ones, and maybe Kalonzo. But the common man in Kenya is thinking about school fees, what to eat, and not even roads, but basically how to succeed in this tough life, and the taxes. People are thinking about what is touching them. For now, the referendum is remote in the minds of Kenyans. Mr.
Connellius, do you agree that Jubilee is right now just thinking about development, and no politics 2022?
You know, maybe I can say that maybe the president is thinking about development. The deputy president is thinking about 2022. That is automatic. Okay. And you see, sometimes when you look at our politics, short history has taught us that when you push for the presidency so much, you end up losing. I want to believe our honorable former Prime Minister Raila Odinga and the deputy president are fighting so hard to go into opposition in 2022, and they'll end up that direction. So as we speak, we want to see a Kenya whereby we are looking at development. And Chebunet gets strong when he talks about Mudavadi talking about referendum and so on and so forth. What Mheshimiwa Mudavadi has said is that we need to look at our constitution, but not at this time. And that is not talking about referendum. And when you look at what he's been talking about, especially foreign debt, matters economy, he's so focused. He wants President Uhuru to get his act together and make sure that Kenyans are getting getting their rightful share in this life, because life is not permanent. To say that we'll go for debts and debts and debts, and then at the end of it all, nobody is benefiting from what they are talking about. And you know, there is that corruption. This corruption has really eaten into...
Before we go to corruption, let us clear first of all with matters referendum. Will it be the breaking point of Jubilee Party, Mr. Chebunet? Analysts are of the observation, a section of analysts are of the observation that these will be the point probably at which President Uhuru and Deputy President William Ruto part ways.
As I had said earlier, if William Ruto is sidelined in any of these decisions,
define sidelined.
Sidelined is maybe if he's not involved. If people are just greeting one another in State House, I don't know, Arambe House, and so forth. Because currently, you don't want to ignore William Ruto. He's well connected. In fact, in all these MPs, and senators, the fellow has a very serious network. And so ignoring him, you'll be in trouble. So the president needs to come up with a national dialogue. If the president comes up with a national dialogue where the presidency, and when we talk about the presidency, and that's where Raila wants to scatter. He wants to remove the presidency to look like it is Uhuru Kenyatta. The presidency involves Deputy President and Jubilee as a party.
Okay. Do you agree, Mr. Connellius? You seem to be very, very uncomfortable.
I want to think my colleague here is just trying to praise. He's playing psychophancy, politics of psychophancy, because actually when you look at it from all angles, the fact will always remain that what we are looking at today is a deputy president who is disillusioned, because him being the government, that is being the presidency, he should not be complaining. He should not be complaining about not being involved in all these decisions. And if he thinks that he's being sidelined, then it means that he's not in government, and that his future is not predictable. And when you look at it critically, the way Mr. Chebunet has put it, that he has a network. He might be having a network of senators, women rep, MPs, so on and so forth. But these guys are not permanent and pensionable. They can be sacked in the next election. So that is not a network in politics per se. So what I want us to follow is, let us look at Kenya as a country that must move on. And let us look at Kenya far away from the politics that we are playing about this issue of referendum. Because as I say, referendum is actually about Raila Odinga on one side and William Ruto on the other side. They are not looking at Kenya. They are looking at their ambitions after 2022. And that's not the right thing to do.
Chebunet, Mr. Connellius says you should not imagine or even think that the deputy president is untouchable.
I think the man to beat now, everybody knows, even Connellius here and my friend here, the man to beat now. If you see every discussion on social media, in fact, there is no newspaper that will sell without the name of William Ruto. So there are joint forces to make sure that he is destabilized. But I think he has enough experience, and when the day comes in 2022, he's the man to beat. So the issue of the crucial issues now in Kenya should revolve around such fellows.
Cornelius, is DP the only person to beat come 2022?
You know, sometimes we might be living in denial. Because there are so many people out there who want to get this presidency, and seriously so. One of them, and I want to always think that he's the 5th president of Kenya, is one Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi. Looking at the track record, what he has achieved while he was serving in several ministries, it shows that the man to beat in 2022 is Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi. Again, Jubilee has really disillusioned wananchi. What they are doing, when you look at the corruption, whatever, like even he's talked about the maize. Farmers are not being paid, and even maize is going at 800, 700. Now, can we call that real development at any rate? And you know, the deputy president comes from Rift Valley, especially Uasin Gishu.
Yes.
So if farmers in Uasin Gishu are not getting the money, the money for their produce, how is he going to convince them in future that he is going to improve their life? And he is the president, the deputy president today. And
indeed, we are anticipating a protest on Monday if threats by a section of MPs in the Rift Valley led by Alfred Keter and also MP Sila Tiren from Moiben is anything to go by. When we come back, we'll be discussing that and how that will work out. Previously, we have had a number of demonstrations here in Eldoret, farmers just trying to express themselves, and DP, when he came over after those protests, quote unquote, he told them, watu wa Eldoret, nani amewafunza maandamano? Mnaandamana juu yangu? Simngenipigia hata simu, mnipigia hata muongee Kinandi ningesikia. So it will be interesting to see how that plays out. and if indeed Alfred Keter and Sila Tiren will make true their threat. We will come back with you, Chebunet, on the same. In the meantime, I take you to my colleague Ken Mijungo with his panel in our Nairobi studios. Ken.